Welcome to my quick start guide for analog photography. A lot of people are getting more interested in this. It's risen in popularity a lot over recent years. These cameras are so much cheaper than their DSLR counterparts. The film is pretty cheap, and in some cases you can even develop them yourselves. In this video I'm going to show you how to load film, unload film, some basic settings, tips and tricks for operating these things. By the end of it, if you've never picked one of these up before, if you've seen one and you're keen on using it, you should be able to quite confidently use it. So here goes. Okay then, loading film, pretty easy to do. Got your camera, got your film. Here's some Ilford Delta 100s. Okay. Take your film out of its canister. You'll see on unexposed film there's small tail. This additional bit allows you to load it. So you see it's got 36 exposures. Set that down. To open your back on your camera, there'll be a catch either on the side, on the bottom. For this camera, it's this. So you pull up on that and you open your back. Pretty easy to do. Set your film in this side of the camera with the nipple bit pointing downwards. Stretch this across. Don't worry, this is being exposed, but the camera's got a bit of give and it lets you give up a few rolls. You'll still get 36 out of it. Now you're going to place the tail into this roller here. What you're trying to do is get to catch on one of these sprockets at the bottom. So pull your advance lever, put a little bit of pressure on it. Can you see how that's been picked up on this but also on there? So fire off a frame, that's what I usually do. Hang on, it wasn't clicked, there we go. Pull it one more time, that's definitely loaded. Okay, now I'm just going to pull my viewfinder out of the way, closing the lid. Pressing this down, you might have to twist it a bit to get it to line up. Okay, there we go, that's now locked in. You've got to set your speed, your ASA, to what the film's rated for. So this was Ilford 100. My ASA dial is already at 100. I can change it here, but I'll leave that. So now it's a question of getting your frame to advance to 1. So fire off a few blank frames. Can you see now that this counter reads 1 in orange? Turning it off because I don't want to waste my battery. This camera is now ready to shoot its first frame. Okay, so film's all been shot. You've reached 36 or 24 on your frame counter, depending on how much film is on your roll. Time to get the film out so it can be developed. Now you have to do this right, because if you open the camera without doing it properly, you risk ruining your entire roll. The film is inside, it's currently wrapped around this spool here and it's still light sensitive. Some cameras actually wind it back in when they finish automatically, but if you're using a manual camera, you've got to turn the camera over, press this button here. Yeah, that clicks. What that is doing is releasing the tension on this spool here. And then you lift up this reel. There's an arrow showing you which way to go. If I get the strap out of the way. So you wind around here, you keep going, it can take some time. If you can see my frame counter, you can see I'm winding back through down to 0. That can take some time. See how quickly I can go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back to S. Now if you heard that click, that's the film coming back off this spool, going into its little canister. So as before, pull this up until it clicks. I open the back, here's my film. Let's close that back off. Okay. Right, here is the absolute minimum kit you need for film photography. 1, film camera. That one's pretty obvious. 2, some film. And 3, a battery for your camera. A lot of people don't think that analog cameras need batteries. Some don't. A lot of the ones with meters and some of them with electronic shutters do. So you need one of these if you're just getting started. If you buy one of these that's sat in someone's garage for 20 odd years, it's not going to still run. The batteries do last absolutely ages, but they don't last that long. Some extra stuff you might want if you're considering it: shutter release cable. This allows you to do bulb mode, and also is just generally good for if you're using a tripod or if you want to do a long exposure, gets rid of some camera shake. Some do have self-timers, a lot of them don't. They have the thread adapter, so this kind of thing works for most old cameras. And of course, you might also want a couple of extra lenses. They're pretty cheap for these old systems. Gives you a little bit more versatility. Right then. One of the key reasons people like to shoot analog cameras is the choices of film and the film look you can achieve. Now, which film you use obviously depends on the kind of things you're going to shoot with that film. If you're shooting at night, for example, you might want some very fast, very grainy film. ISO ASA 100 is pretty good for strong sunlight. Anything you're going to be using a slower exposure for. I actually recommend 400 ASA film, Fuji 400H or Kodak Portrait 400. I actually only have Portrait in the 120 roll format at the moment, but you can get it for 35mm. 400's good because when you're using film, you have to bear in mind you're not able to change your ASA between rolls. You're going to load in 36 rolls and you have to shoot 36 frames at a set ASA before you can switch your camera. Say you go out in the dark and you put some 3200 speed film in and you go to the beach in the sun the next day, you're going to be either using f/22 at 1/4000th or you're not going to be able to take photos. It's unfortunate. Some people buy multiple camera bodies. If you see medium format users, sometimes they have multiple backs to their cameras. They actually take off and put in a different film. If you're just starting out, I recommend, if you're going black and white, HP5 Plus, that's 400 speed film. Pretty good all-round stuff. Nice grain. That's made by Ilford. This is Delta, but it's similar. If you want to go color, Portrait 400 is really good. Fuji 400H is a bit more expensive, but good stuff. Kodak Gold, quite popular film. You'll recognize the tones that one produces. Another thing when talking about film is the sort of pushing and pulling exposures. A lot of people like to push their film 2 extra stops. Now to explain that, that's your exposure meter on your digital camera. So you've got your 0 point, you've got your plus and your minus. What they're doing is purposely exposing when the meter would be saying plus. Easy way to do that is to put your film into the camera and say it's 400 ASA film, take those stops off when setting the ASA. If you want to overexpose Fuji 400 by 1 stop, for example, you'd put 200 in as your ASA and the camera would do it for you. Film is really good at recovering highlights. It can give quite a kind of vibrant film effect. I know a lot of people enjoy that. Whilst talking about film effects, I probably should mention VSCO as well. A lot of you guys will be familiar with that. It's called a film emulator, and it works by applying a film preset or a sort of close to film preset to your digital images. I can show you one now actually. If you look at this image here, the one on the left is actual Kodak 200 Gold. The one on the right is my Nikon pretending to be shooting Kodak 200 Gold. I prefer the one on the left. I think the colours come out a bit better. Obviously I can tweak them to my heart's content in Lightroom. Film just does it part and parcel, and I think that's why a lot of people like it. Obviously you're going to have to experiment with different film types to kind of work out which one is your favourite or which one gets the closest look that you're trying to achieve. people say about Portras having sort of really good skin tones. Kodak Ektar, sort of skin tone comes out a bit reddish. Experiment. It's expensive, but once you find your niche, you can stick to it. That about wraps it up. If you've got any questions, please feel free to DM me on Instagram. It's probably the easiest way.